today's product, you and I have talked about AEW. The skill set aspect is really great in it. I agree with you. And I even like the rankings on the win-loss.
Love it.
It doesn't do much for me if it's not meaningful. So
Right.
they have to continue to make it meaningful, then like highlight it and make sure it goes somewhere with it. So I have no problem with that. I do like that. But I sure liked the work they were doing when CM Punk was there. Maybe I'm just a big CM Punk fan, but I really hated to see him go after that comeback.
It's that, oh man, it's that thing of every time we as a group of wrestlers and wrestling and things, it's every time you've got something going great, we just have this ability to screw the pooch. But I think a lot of that comes to me because I agree with you. When Punk came back, good business was being done.
Yeah.
As far as ratings and all those things, it was up, and their houses were up, and what they were doing was moving in the right direction. I think the problem is, and this is my opinion. My opinion, and I learned this a long time ago from some very smart men. You cannot be in charge and be one of the boys.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what drew the line in the sand for Punk. I wasn't there. I don't speak to any of those guys, not because I don't like them. I just don't have, that kind of relationship. But he came out and blew his top because everybody in charge is on top. Everybody. So there's got to be that. And I think knowing Phil, like he wanted people to recognize he drew the house. But then you have these guys who are in charge doing what they want to do. And I think Tony Khan became, and still is in that little bit of, he became a victim of his own success. He wants wrestling to change. He wants to do these great things, going back to the rankings that slowly drifted from what their storylines were going to be. But I think the thing with Punk and a lot of the stuff that's going on is you can't be in control and be involved. And I think that was a big thing that led to Cody leaving. And then I saw it again and I know I'm drifting on it, but hopefully it's the same kind of conversation. You see Jeff Jarrett leave one company. He becomes the senior vice president of travel or live events. And now he's on TV every week. So there's going to build that.
And they announced him as an executive. They announced him as an executive when he came in as a heel. I thought that was interesting.
Every executive are top dogs. So when you have guys coming in there and proving from their merchandise and the numbers they're doing, proving that they're doing well, then that should be the conversation. So this is the part of wrestling, and as it progresses, people are changing the road work of it. But at the same time, it still comes down to money and egos. And you can't, I'm a big believer in you cannot be involved and be in charge. And I think that's what I believe that's what hurts AEW. And you can't have people. And again, if you follow the news, people wanting to leave, people asking for leases, the Regal, everything that's going on. Why are certain people allowed to leave? Certain people aren't. Well, we're going to treat the wrestling business differently, but it's still muddy waters when you let the people that are running the asylum be a part of the craziness.
I'll say one thing, Bill. I dabble in the corporate world in a director role, not quite VP. But I will say that if I got in a fight with somebody that I worked with or managed, it didn't matter if I started it or not. I'd be fired.
Yeah.
And I think that was the interesting thing for me. And that's a wrestling thing, because in any other setting, you got to be gone. You got to be terminated. And there's no ifs or buts.
And we'll put it to you. Who are you? How long have you been there? What have you really brought to the table? All these things. Well, if I'm the EVP, you can't fire me. You can't do this. You can't do that. I can do this. Okay, this one was suspended for 2 weeks. The others were suspended for 3 weeks. This guy was let go because he was part of it. The locker room gets together because they don't like what happened. And so they have a say in it. And without being there, Tony's got to do the kumbaya on 3 different sides, and how do you make everybody happy and still take pictures with them and be their friends in social media and all these things. So there's that thing about professional wrestling that is changing again, because truly the here's where you get in trouble for saying it, but I can only talk in Billisms, right? The inmates are running the asylum, but it comes down to what Tony does and how he handles it. Now, I'm sure Tony could be the biggest heel and hated man in professional wrestling if he put his foot down and ran it the way maybe he sees it different and tries to run a different way. Now Tony Khan's the bigger no good dirty dog, and then all of a sudden Vince is the great guy again, and that's all you hear about is people say, well, they want to jump back with Hunter. Well, now Vince, they want to jump back here and they want to just wrestle, man. Just be happy where you are and quit looking for, and that's the thing. I don't think anybody's happy with what they're doing. There's got to be, the end game is about them. It's not wrong. We're all individuals. We're all independent contractors. But the end game is what's in it for me, not what's in the best interest of, And I'm hopeful, and I think AEW has a great product. I think the roster's talented as all get out. I think there's amazing athletes, men and women. I don't think there's enough opportunities for them to all get the reps they need, because right now they're mostly a TV company, and some of the stuff on TV to me is a little wonky, but that's wrestling, right? So you work on it. But it goes back to that 5-star thing. They got a tremendous roster.
It's huge too. They have a lot of people. You're right. There's not even enough time and day or a platform for a lot of them to do anything.
No, he could have 4 more shows and run ROH full time and still not get everybody the reps they need.
All right. This is Jeff Townsend of Jeff Townsend Media. Thank you for checking out the podcast on YouTube. If you're enjoying the show, please subscribe to it, share it with the world, share it with all your friends, your mothers, your brothers, your sisters, everybody. Also, there are plenty of other videos for you to listen to and watch in the meantime. This podcast is also available on all major podcast listening platforms. If you want to learn more about it, go to BillDeMott.com.